Hi, I'm Jay. Today we're at the bench tying calftails. Stay tuned. And we are audio follow video, and we are back. Little technical difficulties the last 3 videos that we've had. A couple where I was having problems with this camera. No known reason. Had 2 complete videos where the microphones just weren't turned on. But we're recording. We have a microphone on. We have 2 cameras, so I think we're good. So we missed, and I might end up tying a few more of these. Yeah, it kept all its settings. So we'll cut that part out. I was just answering the phone. But what I was going to show you, what we kind of missed, and I probably will, I want to tie another couple dozen of these. So we will tie a couple. Where's my smaller pair? There we go. We will tie a couple more dozen of these. But this is a red squirrel tail. You could also use a chipmunk. It's the same coloration. This is a 1/8 head, and it's that what I call a football, just because of its shape. But we tie an awful lot of these. Usually not this time of year. Usually it's an early spring thing. The same with the calftails that we're doing today. The lakes that I sell most of these at, guys are catching perch, bluegill, crappie in the springtime. Then late in the summer, there's a couple lakes a little bit closer to me that the guys, I'm pretty sure, are just catching crappie, and I'm assuming that they are, oh, let's get situated here. I'm assuming that they are probably fishing lily pad, a big section of lily pads, something that you can't get the boat into or through, or even if you had a kayak. And what they're doing is they're probably targeting a couple open patches where you toss out a slip bobber type rig into the open patch and have your line set at a specific depth. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. And I sell an awful lot of these late summer. So when we first tied this, when I was tying the squirrel tails, just to replace some of the inventory that I sold, it was early, second week in July maybe. It was right in the middle of that really hot patch that we had, about 4 weeks or so, where it was just super hot, even here in central New York State. I'm assuming the fish were in deeper water, guessing that they were probably suspended somewhere in that column, right? Schooled up, that's what I'm guessing. I don't target. I talk about catching crappie an awful lot, but I don't target them. The ones I catch are usually a surprise, a happy surprise. Even at the lakes ice fishing. When I'm ice fishing, that is a lake that's known for crappie. We're usually catching pickerel and bluegill and perch, right? So turn the cameras on at the bench. Like I said, I'm filling in inventory of colors that I sold, and I'm onto the Calftail. Same type of head. This is the 1/8 football head, and I'm using just I'd say a medium gray Calftail with white. And the thread I have, what am I using today? This is the Textreme 3/0. It's a round, I don't know if it's nylon or polyester. But let's see, can we see this? So it's the Textreme 3/0 round thread, Danville 140 denier. The Flymaster Plus would be a perfect alternative as well. That I would probably prefer using over the Textreme, only because it's just a slight bit larger. I just didn't have that color. I didn't have it in like a gray, medium gray, a slate gray, whatever you want to call it. Not quite it's not a dark gray, maybe not a slate gray, but it's definitely a medium gray. And I do have on my desk a traditional 2/0 round nylon. This is a 50-yard spool. It's from Gudbrand. I wish they still made this rod wrapping thread in a 2/0. Gudbrand is my all-time favorite of the round nylon. Herders had their brand, Universal had their brand. Lily, which is a sewing thread, but they did a 2/0 round nylon that was a perfect thread for jig tying. But I just replaced this spool. Let's cut back. Just replaced this spool, and I found that I'm down to 13 spools of that color. So I guess I'm just saving it for myself now. But the Textreme 3/0 thread isn't bad. I've talked about it before, and like I said, that Flymaster Plus is 140 denier is just fine. Oh, come on now. So it's a really nice pattern. This, I don't know how well on my screen it looks a little washed out, but that gray is definitely darker than the white. We'll make sure that we have some good pictures to attach with the video. Another good thread combination that would look good is if I had a 2/0 in the fluorescent green or fluorescent yellow, fluorescent chartreuse, whatever you want to call it. That would match the eye. Would also look really good. So gotta adjust my bobbin just slightly. This is a cheap, made in Pakistan, ceramic bobbin. I had it in the bottom of my drawer with a bunch of old bobbins. I do like using this style of foot. Well, we'll take a good look at it after. But the shape of the bobbin, I like the shape of the bobbin, the size of the bobbin. It does hold the Textreme spools nicely, and the Textreme being 3/0, If you're not used to it, and you know, if you're only tying with 2/0 and you go right to the tech stream, and I think I did this the first few times I tried tying with it, I did snap the thread a few times. You have to be a little bit less pressure. But not a lot. Like I said, it does works well for these size jigs. It is strong enough where you can, you know, you can apply the appropriate amount of pressure. Actually, I loosen it up a little bit too much. That's why this bobbin was in that drawer. It's not a terrible bobbin, but it's cheap. I should have gotten another white tail when I was up, but we'll tie 3 or 4. What happened here? So since this is a 3/0 thread, it is slightly thinner than 2/0. I find that I do add a few more wraps just to get that same thickness on the collar. It's only a few. It would be a lot different if, you know, if you had a thread, if I was tying with this and tying a larger jig that I would normally use a size A thread, it would be a lot more obvious the extra wraps that you have to do to get the same results. But take a quick peek at that. Very pretty jig. Very natural looking. You know, it's got the black, gray, and white. Very, very natural in that regard. I do get asked a lot about the thread, only because I harp so much about it. 2/0 brown nylon being my favorite for this size jig. It really is you know, the old-timey way of doing it. I'm thinking around, what was it? Maybe into the 90s you could still find the 2/0 thread, but once we hit 2000, the thinner threads really, I think, switched over. Tyers were buying what they could find at their local fly shops, and it was all flat, it was all waxed, it was all you know, denier versus the aught sizes, or the letter sizes, you know, letters and aughts. So, but you know, a lot of the, if you read the old literature, if you find some crusty old jig tire like me, if we have it, we're going to use the round nylon. I do try to be careful if I was doing some sort of instruction as not to, there's no one way to do this. You can use any type of thread you want. You could use 2-pound amount of filament if you want. You can just glue the hair to the jig, 100% 100% no thread if you wanted. It'll work. I think when people, I'm struggling finding the size to this. I keep messing it up. What I'm doing is I'm looking just past this third dot on the top of my vise. But I think if I'm watching anybody tie or listening to any type of instruction or watching videos on the YouTube, I like to, as long as there's a why to why people choose a product or choose a technique in tying, or giving an explanation on how to attach the hair or paint or even casting jigs. It might be different than what we're doing, but as long as they give a why, and you can kind of think through it, and there's a lot of good tiers out there. I watch guys all the time. If I don't have this, if I don't have the cameras on, I have my laptop right here that kind of manages the so I have the mixing board, but then I also have that what's it called, OBS, for the intro and outro. And I don't know, if I had to turn around and get more white tail, I would push a button that says please stand by, right? So when I'm tying and I'm not recording, I do have the YouTube playing on the laptop here, and 9 times out of 10 it's watching something to do with tying or painting, lure carving. So I watch all the guys. Very pretty jig. We do have other colors. I'm probably going to, after I do, I don't know if I'll finish them up today. I think my wife wants to do some stuff this afternoon, run to the store and whatnot, but I have a few more dozen of these. Then I have at least 2 dozen we'll do of the squirrel, so I might turn the cameras back on when we do that. Very simple jig. I think you can see it better if I just keep my hand out of the way. Very simple jig. Calftail's nice and easy to tie with. Lengthwise, you find that it's somewhat consistent. There's not a lot of restacking after you clip your pinch. Some tails do have a lot of shorter hairs, or as you get near the bottom side of the tail that brushes against the cow's butt all day every day, you might find a lot of short hairs there because they're broken or whatnot. But for the most part, here's an example. I just took a pinch. For the most part, those are all the same length. I do take out the short stuff, the broken hairs and whatnot. And then in terms of restacking, I might just see the 2 or 3 long ones and just pull them out and throw them away. And then I know my pinch is pretty straight. Not 100% straight. It's not like I stack it, right? Because we don't want the tail to look like we trimmed it. We do want a little bit of natural looking You know, no hard and fast edge right at the end of the tail down here. Here's something new, and I've cast up a few heads. This is something that I'm working on, but I'm looking for a hook, and I think I found one. I just have to order them and see if they'll fit the mold that I want to use. Or I might actually need to get a new mold. So for bass fishing, I have a football head mold, and my son-in-law would prefer a traditional bass type football head, right, where the football is sideways. And I have in the back of my mind a couple sketches I made of a bass jig using, these are primarily here in the Susquehanna, we're catching smallmouth. So in my mind, I just want a short shank, large gap football head, bass style football head. And then I'm going to play with a few different hair combinations, material, maybe marabou, maybe some feathers. But this is the size that I want to do. I believe these are 1/0. Can't remember. I tried so many different jigs. And this is the closest I have. There's another jig that has a little bit wider gap. And the only football head mold I have takes the eye that is turned. So instead of the eye like this, the eye is turned this direction, or it's coming out the front at an angle. But I want it to come straight out the top of the football and be more of a balanced, like so. But when you do jig it, it will hop, so to speak. I have tied bass jigs in the past. I did a kind of a combination rabbit zonker bucktail with some rubber legs kind of setup. And my son-in-law did catch some nice fish on those. But I still, in the back of my mind, and I'm thinking about something that's kind of bulky, like a like the marabou jigs I do for the fall, steelhead, right? Something that would slow down the fall. So they'd be a really light head that would kind of float as it drops, not just sink. Crawfish imitation, right? That's what we're basically going for. But sometimes I'll do, I'm thinking in my head maybe 1 or 2 patterns just to see with like a crawfish claw kind of setup, and some just plain, just to see what works best. So, but I have until about Thanksgiving time is probably the next time we'll see them up here, up north, and give me a chance to try them out. So I have a few months to find the perfect hook, and I do have to get a better mold. I think a different mold. But we'll see what happens. I'll definitely turn the cameras on if we do anything like that. I'm going to finish up the rest of these. I got a couple other calftail colors I'll do, and when we do the squirrel tail, we'll turn the cameras back on. But I think that's going to do it for us today. As always, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. Feel free to share any of the videos that we do, as it does help increase awareness for the channel. Check out the website jigworthhandtied.com. And until next time, guys, keep tying tight lines.